To be joining us at 6 o'clock, and the session, as I mentioned, is going to be close to 1 hour. Post that, we have dinner, cocktails and dinner. So we look forward to further cementing these bonds of partnerships and collaboration with all of you over dinner and cocktails. Thank you. I think नहीं I think I'll get up only क्योंकि फिर वो पेपर भी दूर होगा नहीं वो मैं कर लूँगी नो प्रॉब्लम सर विज्ञान भवन में यही करते रहते हैं So welcome to all the people who've joined us. Just requesting people who are moving in to kindly be seated at the earliest possible. May I also request you to please have your mobile phones on the silent mode. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be witnessing many collaborations and partnerships between Indian Oil Corporation Limited and the other energy companies working in the area of renewable energy, in biofuels, towards sustainable aviation fuels, and also presentations being made on the various research and development initiatives in the green energy which Indian Oil has been undertaking. We are also going to be sharing with you. So just in a short while from now, we are going to be good to be starting with the summit. Just a request to be seated and with your mobile phones on the silent, please. Thank you. If my voice can be heard outside, people who are there in the pre-function area, requesting you all to kindly join us in the hall. We are going to be starting with the summit in a while from now. And as you know, the chief guest of the summit is the Honorable Chairman, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Shri S.M. Vaidyaji. He is expected to be joining us any time now, along with the various torchbearers of Indian Oil. So people who are outside, or maybe a word can be put across outside that we are going to be starting, if people can be taking their seats inside. In this summit, as we begin, we are being joined by the senior officials from the Government of India. We have our very distinguished delegates and participants, representatives also from the embassies, from industry, from academia, from research organizations, from financial institutions, joining us in this as we build further partnerships with all of you for a more green, clean energy future for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you must have appreciated the decor outside, the entire, as we are talking about green energy, as you moved in the passage with the sugarcane and the rice husk for the molasses being used for ethanol. And you might be also aware that the Honorable Prime Minister during the India Energy Week had launched the E20 fuel. So towards that, we are showcasing the various initiatives which Indian Oil has been taking towards going green, towards this greener transition. As we all agree, it's going to be for some time a mixed basket of energy, but then we all have to work together, as the Honorable Prime Minister has said, towards a more climate sensitive, clean green growth for the nation, gradually reducing our carbon footprints, and by 2070 being net zero. That's the target which the Honorable Prime Minister has given on the global platform. And each of the companies, all the sectors are further having their own targets towards achieving net zero. We, if you, as you moved in, you must have also seen, we're also showcasing the compressed biogas plant, which is there at Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. World's highest LPG bottling plant also, then further establishing Indian Oil as a RE champion. The entire initiatives are being showcased on the screen outside. Ethanol blended petrol, E20, as I mentioned to you, was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. We also, Indian Oil has been making initiatives towards the introducing sustainable aviation fuel, green hydrogen, which is further driving the green growth agenda, and energy storage and battery, all these initiatives which Indian Oil has been taking. May I request people who are standing at the back to kindly be seated? जो लोग पीछे की तरफ खड़े हैं उनसे विशेष अनुरोध कि आप प्लीज़ अंदर की तरफ आकर अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें. Requesting people not to be standing and just leave the aisles unoccupied so that people can comfortably move in. Thank you. Just once again a request to the people as I welcome you all to kindly be taking your seats. People who are standing at the back, a very humble request to be seated. People in the aisles, just requesting you to kindly leave the space unoccupied so that as the Honorable Chairman and the other dignitaries join us, they are able to move comfortably inside. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to draw your attention. Please join us as we extend greetings and welcome the Honorable Chief Guest, the Honorable Chairman, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Shri Shrikant Madhav Vaidya ji. Where do you want to sit? Anywhere, sir. And I also invite Shri Sujoy Chaudhary, the Director of Planning and Business Development, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, to please grace the dais. Kindly be seated, ladies and gentlemen. So namaskar to all of you. Good greetings of the day and good greetings of the event. On behalf of Indian Oil Corporation Limited, I welcome you all to the Green Energy Summit. And at the very onset, thank you to each one of you for having taken our time and joining us in the initiative of Indian Oil Corporation Limited, being led by our Honorable Chairman, Shri S.M. Vaidya ji, as we take this green path. And ladies and gentlemen, if you see, today's meeting, in fact, is a preeminent gathering of the energy leaders and the green energy partners coming together and meeting at the crossroad of sustainability, climate change, net zero targets, and energy transition. And towards that, it invites your views, your ideas, your innovations, your research, and your investments in green business, and also towards forging partnerships and alliances towards our shared responsibility of building a clean, green, and a sustainable energy future. As we tread on this path, at the very onset, we would like to thank our chairman for leading us. And on behalf of all present here, I would like to request Mr. Sujoy Chaudhary to kindly present a green plant extending our green, good, healthy wishes from everyone here to our leader, to Shri S.M. Vaidya ji. Thank you. So as we thank all the very eminent delegates and participants present with us in this gathering, we have the senior representatives from the Government of India, we have representatives from the embassy, from financial institutions. Joining us are also our industry leaders from the renewable energy, from biofuels, from the sustainable aviation fuels, and the other eminent delegates and participants. So to welcome everyone on behalf of IOCL, I would like to request Mr. Sujoy Chaudhary, the Director of Planning and Business Development, for his words of welcome for everyone.
Respected Chairman Indian Oil, members of Indian Oil Board, senior officials from Government of India, CEOs of the PSUs and other organizations who are here today, FIIs, merchant bankers present here, members of industry bodies, the fraternity of biofuel and renewable energy who are present today evening, members of print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome you all in this evening to Indian Oil's Green Energy Summit. As Robert Swan, a noted environmentalist, had said, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. It is thus imperative on us to lead a sustainable way of life in everything that we do. For the past many years, whatever we have done, as Indian Oil, whatever we have done in the energy space, be it commissioning of a refinery or a petrochemical complex, used to draw more eyeballs. But in recent times, you all may have seen some of our sustainable initiatives have had very, very good traction. Be it the initiative of Unbottled, the solar cooktop, the more recent ones of methanol-fueled buses of KSRTC, or the translocation of the Cheetah. However, these green initiatives are not anything new to Indian Oil. As you may be aware, we have been ranked as numero uno by BNEF in the Green Transition Ranking in India. That's a very, very creditable achievement for us. Besides, a host of other green initiatives are being done for the first time in the country, some of which have been bestowed on us by Government of India. And we feel extremely honored for these initiatives. These initiatives have mainly been piloted by our R&D division, and together with the scientific community and the employees of Indian Oil, we have actually translated these initiatives from concept to reality. If you look at some of the actions which we have done in the green space, be it the EV space, right from battery charging stations, which we intend to take up to 10,000, or the battery swapping stations, or the manufacturing of aluminum air batteries, for which we have partnered Phinergy. Or let us take to biofuels, the first generation, the second generation, or even third generation, which is the first globally. Let us also look at CBG space. Let us also look at what we are trying to do in the space of green hydrogen. All the three pathways to green hydrogen are what we are pursuing. And in fact, we have also fueled a Toyota Mirai at our R&D premises using this green hydrogen. Let us look at the recycling, which is a very, very important aspect of sustainability today. We have launched a grade called Cycloplast. We have ventured into PET recycling through our Unbottle initiative. Let us look at the normal fuel space, where we have brought in a host of fuels, be it XP95, XP100, or Green Mile, or Servo Raftar. All these in the green space actually lead to emission of lower carbon dioxide, and thus are far greener a fuel than the conventional ones. So you have seen that we have done it all in all the spaces that today we look at greening. We have done it all. But that's not it. In the backdrop of our operational net zero announcement for 2046, it is now time to consolidate all the green assets of the different divisions into one vertical and scale up the same with increased focus, increased agility. It is time to move from a megawatt scale to 30 gigawatt by 2030. That is why today we are here. There are many of you who are present in this hall who would be partners in this journey of ours. And we have already onboarded some of the partners. And together with these partners, we feel that this green journey of ours would be very sustainable, very enjoyable, and we would play a very, very important role in this country's greening. If you look at India, India has always imbibed an idea of having nature as a part of our regular rituals. So it is important that we partner India in this journey when we move from sustainability, from a normal fuel to a journey of sustainability. And as Indian Oil, as we talk every time, Pehle Indian Feed Oil, we feel there's an important responsibility, and we would play an important role in making India a very, very important player in the field of renewables and sustainability. So to end, I would say, while we consolidate our normal fuel business, it is time to actually zoom or exponentially grow our green initiatives or green energy platforms. So welcome once again to this summit. As we go along, we'll hear from our partners, from our consultant, who will lay out the path, and most importantly, we hear from our own chairman, how we have prepared for this journey and what are we going to do with increased focus. So welcome once again, and let us all live and allow our future generations to live happily. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for setting the tone and the context of this summit. And ladies and gentlemen, as was mentioned, Indian Oil Corporation Limited has taken this new and exciting journey towards achieving its twin goals of net zero, achieving it by 2046, and that of energy security. Mr. Chaudhary mentioned about some of the green initiatives which Indian Oil Corporation Limited has been taking. Many of them are also a part of our corporate social responsibility. And we would like to, in fact, show you here a short film which encapsulates these green initiatives. If you can have the film, please.
Of India's energy security and in line with Prime Minister's vision for net zero by 2070, Indian Oil has now embarked on an ambitious journey to achieve operational net zero status by 2046 on India's 100th anniversary of independence with an investment of rupees 2 lakh crore. Reinforcing the country's green energy endeavours, Indian Oil is exploring green technologies in all viable sectors such as hydrogen, renewable energy, biofuels, 2G, 3G ethanol, CBG, EV charging infrastructure, battery swapping, battery manufacturing and biodiesel. Moving up from 10% ethanol blending, E20 has been flagged off. Expanding its foray into bioethanol blending, the company has established Asia's largest Parali-based 2G ethanol plant with a capacity of 100 kiloliters per day, with emission reduction of 300,000 metric tons carbon dioxide emission per annum, which has been dedicated to the nation by the Honorable Prime Minister. As the next step, world's first 3G ethanol plant with a capacity of 128 kiloliters per day and an annual capacity of 33 kiloton is ready to be commissioned, which shall also capture and utilize 180,000 metric tons carbon dioxide emission per annum. Under the Satat scheme, Indian Oil has issued over 2,500 LOIs and the compressed biogas produced by 20 plants is being marketed under the brand Indi Green. In addition, it is promoting used cooking oil and other alternatives for blending in biodiesel. The company has further established a cow dung-based 100-ton per day compressed biogas plant at Hingonia under its Waste to Wealth initiative. A 200-ton per day mixed feedstock-based CBG plant at Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh is also under commissioning, which will produce over 20-ton per day of CBG. Along with this, the company will be soon unveiling sustainable aviation fuel production plant to produce over 100,000 metric tons per annum of SAF in collaboration with leading global alcohol-to-jet technology providers. Indian Oil also has a renewable energy portfolio of 167 megawatt of wind capacity and 70 megawatt of solar photovoltaic capacity, through which it generates approximately 380 million units of power per annum. Inspired by the Prime Minister's National Hydrogen Mission, Indian Oil is giving a push to India's green hydrogen sector. The company is setting up green hydrogen plant of 7 KTA at Panipat, and subsequently green hydrogen plants will be set up at other refineries as well. Augmenting the country's EV infrastructure, the company is setting up 10,000 EV charging stations across the country at its retail outlets, out of which 4,700 have already been installed. Indian Oil has also installed battery swapping stations at its retail outlets, contributing 20% among the industry. With its consistent efforts and its innovative offerings in the space of clean and low carbon energy, Indian Oil has been ranked 22nd globally and number 1 amongst Indian oil and gas companies by Bloomberg NEF Oil and Gas Transition Scores 2022. Another significant step towards decarbonizing transportation has been made by launch of pilot trials of methanol blended diesel MD15 bus with KSRTC in Karnataka. As an environmentally conscious organization, through our unique initiative of Unbottled, we are committed to recycle 100 million PET bottles per year to produce sustainable garments for oil marketing companies, customer attendants, LPG delivery boys, Indian Army's non-combat uniform and other institutional sales. In the biodiversity space, the company has spent more than 2,300 crore rupees over the last 5 years, implementing numerous marquee projects, including transcontinental relocation of the cheetah to its native range in India. The company has taken up multiple environmental conservation efforts, from building eco-parks for over 300 species of resident and migratory birds to maintaining green cover around our locations. The company has planted over 50 lakh plants, which includes a mangrove plantation. Further, Indian Oil's Mathura refinery is the first refinery in the world to use waste sewage water for use in 100% refinery operations. To further the country's efforts towards a greener future for all, Indian Oil is forging collaborations with key players in the industry. The company plans to offer a diverse portfolio of both molecules and electrons targeting 35 gigawatt renewable energy, 1 million metric tons biogas, 4 million metric tons biofuels by 2030, and 200 gigawatt renewable energy, 9 million metric tons biogas, 7 million metric tons biofuels, and 4 gigawatt power by 2050. From 0.4 million metric tons green hydrogen capacity in 2030, Indian Oil will also have approximately 2 million metric tons of green hydrogen in its fold by 2050. Indian Oil's vision for a green future is a comprehensive endeavor that includes and touches all aspects that make a sustainably viable dimension. Towards the realization of this idea, the Green Energy Summit is a significant step. Welcome to a greener Indian Oil.
India's largest fuel retailer and refiner is all set to be with the national mission of driving a more clean, green and a more sustainable growth for the country. And towards that, it is well integrating its development goals with the climate action targets and being on this energy transition pathway to be the key voice towards the net zero targets. And leading this transformation, leading this energy transition, ladies and gentlemen, is Shri Shrikant Madhav Vedaji, the Chairman Indian Oil, under whose leadership we are today seeing a positive change in the organization towards people, planet, and for prosperity. So I would like to now request and invite Chairman Indian Oil, Shri S.M. Vedaji, to kindly address this August gathering and to guide us further. Thank you.
Senior colleagues from the energy fraternity, friends from the media, distinguished guests, my fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen. India stands at the cusp of two significant transformations. First, its economic transformation, and second, its green transformation. The country's energy landscape is changing rapidly. This has gained further impetus with the announcement of India's net zero targets, which have been backed by many path-breaking policy interventions. Indian Oil has taken due cognizance of the national and global commitments to net zero and the challenges thereof. Today's Green Energy Summit is our resolve to be a part of the solution. The company is preparing to support the drive by working towards achieving the net zero operational emissions by 2046 when the country enters the 100th year of independence. The global energy transition is a key challenge of our times. The shift towards renewable energy and biofuels is one of the most significant transformations happening in the energy industry today. Also, the desire of country to bolster their energy security by reducing dependency on transport energy dominated by fossil fuels and instead have access to more domestically produced energy, most likely to come from renewables and other non-fossil energy sources, indicates that the pace of energy transition is set to accelerate. In recent times, India has increasingly showcased its commitment to the cause of climate change. One major landmark was the announcement of India's energy transition goals by our Honorable Prime Minister in COP26, wherein India took the pledge to achieve net zero by 2070. For that matter, the Union Budget of 23-24 is a marked and welcome direction in the country's policy making and will pave the way for sustainable growth of India at 100. The Government of India's emphasis on sustainability and significantly increased capex outlay of energy transition exhibits India's resolve towards achieving net zero by 2070. Green growth is one of the 7 priorities in this year's budget and prioritizes the adoption of green fuel, green energy, green mobility, and policies for efficient use of energy across various sectors. But transition also needs to take into account the security, affordability, and sustainability of energy, the 3 dimensions of the energy system. Any successful and enduring energy transition needs to address all the 3 elements of the energy transition. The focus on hydrogen's role in the energy pie has increased significantly in recent years. With India setting its sight on becoming the energy independent by 2047, green hydrogen will increasingly play a critical role in reducing imports while supporting the domestic energy industry. Sustainability is the definitive way forward, and as the leader in the energy and the fuel business in the country, we view sustainability business practices as defining elements of competitiveness to maintain our leadership. There has been a proactive effort by Indian Oil to offer a bouquet of green products: extra green diesel, XP95 and XP100 premium petrol, extra Tej LPG, compressed biogas under the brand name IndiGreen, lubes for green mileage Servo Raftar, etc. Indian Oil is the leader among Indian corporates in the oil and gas sector as per the global ranking on transition released in Bloomberg New Energy Finance, and we have been ranked 22nd globally. On forward outlook and future-oriented actions, Indian Oil's action in energy transition have been recognized as actions stronger than the targets. Indian Oil has also tapped oil and gas corporates for low carbon investments as the share of the total capex. To give a definitive fillip, Indian Oil shall pursue the green initiatives with a definitive focus while consolidating all the green assets. This will enable the company to focus on rapidly building commercial scale green business through effective collaboration. Our 100 KL per day 2G ethanol plant at Panipat was dedicated to the nation by the Honorable Prime Minister on 10th August 22. The project, set at an investment of around 900 crores, will use indigenously developed technology and utilize around 220,000 metric tons, that is 0.2 million tons of paddy straw as a feedstock. This 2G ethanol plant is expected to mitigate around 300,000 metric tons per annum of CO2 equivalent emissions. Indian Oil has also set up a 3G ethanol plant at Panipat, which is in advanced stage of commissioning and stabilization at an investment of 750 crores, using gas fermentation technology to process the refinery off gases to produce 33,000 metric tons per annum of ethanol. This shall be the first refinery off gas-based ethanol plant in the world and is expected to mitigate 180,000 metric tons of CO2 per annum. Taking a major step to enhance the bouquet of green, friendly, sustainable products and to meet the CORSIA requirements, Indian Oil has engaged with LanzaJet to set up a sustainable aviation fuel plant of 87,000 metric tons per annum production capacity at Panipat. Indian Oil has also signed an MOU with Praj to set up a SAF demo plant of 10 tons per day capacity using the Gevo proprietary alcohol-to-jet technology, and progressively to set up a 500,000 tons per day capacity commercial plant by 2035. We have also firmed up collaborations with Renew Power and L&T for the green hydrogen business. Indian Oil has set up over 4,700 charging stations and 66 battery swapping stations with the target of commissioning 10,000 charging stations by 2024. We also have a joint venture with Finergy to commercialize the aluminum air battery technology. The joint venture will be creating the first ever ecosystem for the aluminum air energy in India, including R&D, manufacturing, deployment of aluminum air energy systems. We plan to offer a diverse portfolio of both molecules and electrons. We are targeting 3 gigawatts of renewable energy and 0.6 million tons of biofuels by 2025, and will scale up to 35 gigawatt renewable energy and 4 million tons of biofuels by 2030. While we look to diversify our existing petroleum and gas product offerings, we will consolidate our green assets under one vertical. Our vision is to establish Indian Oil as one of India's leading integrated green energy and decarbonization major, offering products across biofuels, renewables, green hydrogen, and low-carbon value chains, including carbon offsets and carbon capture and utilization and storage, CCUS. We are also aware that the transition to green energy and biofuels will require significant investments, innovation, and collaboration across different sectors. There will be opportunities for financial institutions and technology providers to collaborate with us. We firmly believe that this transformation is not only necessary for Indian Oil's long-term success, but also for the well-being of our planet and future generations. We look forward to working with you all towards a sustainable future. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the various green initiatives which Indian Oil is taking under your leadership, these massive and very impressive green footprints. And ladies and gentlemen, I think all will agree that a tagline or a slogan, it spells out the vision and the mission of any organization. So we now have the unveiling of the tagline of the green mission of Indian Oil, and I would like to request Shri S.M. Vaidyaji to kindly, by clicking the remote, to please unveil the tagline of the green mission of Indian Oil. Thank you, sir. And may I request now Chairman, sir, and Mr. Sujoy Chaudhary to kindly be seated in the front row. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are sure that this tagline is going to be inspiring everyone to be collaborating and working together towards greening this planet. And now, towards these green initiatives and the green journey, which our Honorable Chairman also shared with all of you the initiatives which has been taken by Indian Oil, the further vision and mission which we have, the R&D unit of Indian Oil working in the direction, new innovations and technologies we are going to be sharing with you. But right now, I would like to invite Shri Anirban Mukherjee, the Managing Director and Partner of BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and as you know, this is a global consulting group. BCG has been part of Indian Oil's green energy journey, and they're going to be making a presentation of Indian Oil's green energy future on behalf of the corporation. Inviting Shri Anirban Mukherjee.
Thank you, and very good evening, Chairman Indian Oil, Director BD Planning, members of the board, and the CEOs and leaders of the broader Indian energy ecosystem who are committed to make the world a greener and a better place. The 21st century is going to be a century which will witness the world undergoing an energy transition. And without a doubt, the century will belong to those who are prepared and ready to take a leadership position in that transition. And in that respect, the chairman and director spoke about how India has already set itself up to follow that journey, balancing our economic growth with the need to be more sustainable through our net zero by 2070, the NDCs, and the various missions that have been launched on hydrogen, biofuel, and many others. And following in that, Indian Oil has set itself an aspiration, not only on the back of its 2046 net zero, but also the investments and the partnerships and the missions that the chairman and director spoke about. I'll take the next few minutes to walk through how Indian Oil is looking to build up on this vision and the mission. If you look at globally, today we often witness announcements in the different COPs. COP26 was all about the pledges. COP27 was about implementation and coming together. And we expect more and more pledges to come in, but already close to 90% of the world GDP is now covered under net zero pledges. And why is that? Because the world has only a few more gigatons of carbon to spend. It is said that about 400 to 500 gigatons of carbon oxide is all that we can spend from now till eternity. And for that, we'll have to increasingly move towards net zero. Needless to say, India has also set itself not just a 2070 net zero target, but also energy intensity target, which very carefully balances our need for growth with that of the climate. Now, if you look closer into that, what does that mean in terms of the energy basket going forward? And that's where this century becomes momentous. Never before has an energy transition so steep been witnessed on this planet. From 14%, clean sources are expected to go to 60% by 2050. That is just by the middle of this century. And this transition requires not just investments, but it requires commerciality at scale for technologies which have just been developed. And that requires innovation, technology, and R&D that the chairman and director spoke about. And if you look at on the right side, the growth that has to happen in the future, in the next 20 years, significantly exceeds the growth that we have seen in the past. And that is the opportunity that we are looking to capture. Now, we translate that into how is it looking for India. The India's 2070 net zero journey is a fillip to all the renewable sources. Starting from 15% today, we are looking at a 68% by 2050, staying true to the 2070 journey. But more importantly, if you look at the right-hand side, that's where the material opportunity in numbers comes through. From 60 gigawatt of solar moving to 2,000 gigawatt, from 40 gigawatt of wind moving to 550. Across all the sources, anywhere between 3 to 10 times is the scale at which the growth is going to happen. And while 2050 is far down, even if we dial down to 2030, and that's where the NDC and the Panchamrit targets come in, we are looking at 500 gigawatt of renewable sources during that time. And if you look at capacity additions and investments that are being lined up now, including the discussion we are having here, we are on track to meet that. Having said that, what got us here won't get us there. There will be development in the operating model. We'll go from plain vanilla solar to we'll go to more RTCs and hybrids. Storage will need to come in. We'll go in 1G and 2G of biofuels and bioethanol. But each of these will require a continuous R&D, a continuous staying at the edge of technology. Why are oil and gas companies looking at this opportunity very, very closely? Because globally, oil and gas companies have a first right to win. They are the energy providers to the world. They are the ones who are good at continuous innovation, at large-scale project execution, access to markets, managing the resources. And that on the left-hand side, you will see that while this is just a representative set of logos we have, every single large oil and gas company is making its own strategy of how to approach this opportunity. Some might do it on the back of their own net zero, because most of these companies have taken the net zero target, and being large companies, that itself gives them a first right to win in this space. But many, and including what we are hearing today from Indian Oil, you'll see that there is an ambition to move beyond just captive use, to move towards more and more capturing of that energy market. And that's where the resource allocation on the right-hand side is happening, where most companies are going anywhere between 10 to 25% of their capital spending today into renewable sources, something that is expected to only grow as the world becomes more and more stringent in terms of achieving its net zero. Bringing that down to Indian Oil. Today, Indian Oil occupies 9% of India's energy share, and that is across sources. That is across natural gas, petroleum products, but also you heard a lot about the investments made in renewables and bioenergy. And that forms the basis of the aspiration. Indian Oil has set itself on a path to continue to be the leader for India's energy requirements, balancing both the need and consumption of energy, but also moving towards energy security. Because any transition always throws up an opportunity to rebalance the supply and demand of energy. And this is our opportunity as a country to start moving towards greater energy security. So a material role is about 1/8, as they say. And that is the aspiration that Indian Oil has set, to claim that 1/8 of India's energy basket till 2050. Marrying that with the previous numbers that we saw is the incredible opportunity that lies in front. Now, Indian Oil, as you heard, has already started this journey. Chairman mentioned, Indian Oil is ranked 22nd in the global transition of oil and gas companies. It is ranked #1 amongst Indian oil and gas companies by Bloomberg. And now is our opportunity to consolidate those investments and give it a fillip for the next phase of growth. And that is the intention, the objective now, across renewables, across ethanol, across CBG, aviation fuel, and electric mobility. The various investments, the various partnerships that have already been launched will be housed under one entity. And that will give it the scale to not just forge new partnerships, but also invest in the technologies that will require to grow them at scale that we are seeing for tomorrow. And the second part is that how do we now grow that consolidated energy basket into being a leader? And there are two parts to it. The first part is Indian Oil's own net zero. For an energy company of scale of Indian Oil, if Indian Oil is to only replace its own energy consumption of net zero by 2046, the scale required is what you see below. It can, by itself, consume about 9 gigawatt of solar, 2 gigawatt of wind, 1.6 MMTPA of green hydrogen, and 1.5 million ton of biogas. And this itself has about 2 lakh crore of investment required. But more than the investment, this gives you a scale to be a leadership position as a player purely on the back of Indian Oil's own targets for 2046 net zero. But that's not where the journey stops. The journey moves on to take a larger share of the Indian energy basket, the basket of tomorrow, which is going to be more and more low carbon and green. And this means moving, if you take a 2030 target of 35 gigawatt of renewable, 1 MMTP of biogas, 4 MMTP of biofuels, and investments in green hydrogen. And if you reach far out into 2050, and that's where you are looking to be 1/8 of the India's new energy basket, the scales are off the charts. Then you're talking about 200 gigawatt and correspondingly the investments and the size across different energy sources. The important point here to note is that while these are high-level numbers, to make this happen, the entire value chain has to fire. So when we are talking about renewable energy, it will not just be wind or it won't just be solar. It will have to be wind, it'll have to be solar, it'll have to be hybrid, it'll have to include storage, it'll have to involve hydro. When you're looking at power to X, you will look at significant investments in green hydrogen, but also into the green hydrogen supply chain. While India's domestic market of green hydrogen is to evolve, there is already an existing opportunity, let's say, in exports. Similarly, across the board, even if you look at, you will have to get into manufacturing solutions, and that's a trend we are seeing in India already, that as we are ahead in terms of our own renewable generation, many of the players, we are seeing them making moves into backward integration. And that is in getting into manufacturing and creating that value chain assurance for you to grow into that. And that's where the energy security element comes in. And even in terms of the mission, vision, and the policy that is getting set across electric mobility, across the renewable value chain, we are seeing the policies coming in to facilitate such investments. Chairman did speak about carbon groups of offset and carbon trading. That's again a significant potential. India today is already one of the leaders in the carbon markets, on the voluntary carbon markets, and perhaps moving towards a more and more compliance carbon market. And that gives an opportunity to further strengthen the move into the renewables on the back of carbon offsets and carbon trading. In a summary, Indian Oil has started its journey already. It is already one of the leaders in terms of the various renewable sources that has been set up. As we move forward, we can look at this journey as 3 steps. One is to seed, and that's what we are seeing now. A move like this, setting its own aspiration, its green journey, articulating its green journey, bringing all these collective investments under one roof, and then creating an aspiration for 2030 and 2050, that gives the oxygen for it to move into the next stage, which is the stage of growth. The growth is where a lot of the partners who are here today will play a significant role. This is a problem that a village will solve, and that will require investments in technology, investments in partnership, investments in capabilities and complementary skill sets, and having an innovation in terms of how you structure each of these investments. And that is the important part which is starting today, following up for the next few years to come as you reach scale. And the final stage is where you reach leadership. And that's where you have maximized value, you have maximized liquidity, and you reap the benefits of leadership as you have invested in the first 2 stages. This is the journey set out for Indian Oil, and it's incredible to be associated with this momentous event today. I congratulate Indian Oil again and look forward to a greener, better world as we move ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anirban, for this very comprehensive presentation with the current green journey of Indian Oil and then the targets of 2030 and 2050. And taking a leaf from what you said, that what got us here is not going to be getting us to tomorrow. And that is where greater collaborations and partnerships we have to look into. We have to look into greening energy together. And towards that, we are going to be witnessing now the MOU being signed between Indian Oil and SJVN. SJVN, as you know, is an Indian public sector undertaking involved in hydroelectric power generation and transmission. I invite this MOU, which is going to be signed right now. It is towards the development of large-scale renewable energy projects. And from Indian Oil, I request and invite Shri Shantanu Gupta, Executive Director, Alternate Energy and Sustainable Development. And from SJVN, requesting Shri Rajesh Kumar Gupta, CGM, PT and BD, to please join us here as we have this MOU between Indian Oil and SJVN. This is towards the development of large-scale renewable energy projects. So the two organizations, institutions coming together towards tapping in their resources, their experience and expertise, and working together towards these green initiatives. I would now like to once again invite Chairman Indian Oil, Shri S.M. Vaidya. May I also request Shri Sujoy Chaudhary. Also inviting Ms. Geeta Kapoor, the Director of Personnel, SJVN to please join us here on the stage. And then I request the two signatories to please join us here on the stage to further exchange the MOUs in the presence of Chairman Indian Oil. Many congratulations to SJVN, congratulations to the entire team being led by Shri Vaidya. The two exchanging MOUs now. Thank you, and once again, congratulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, towards achieving these green targets of 2030 and 2050, Indian Oil is creating collaborations with various major players in renewable energy and in biofuels so as to increase its footprints in the green energy space, as well as exploring the investments in the greenfield and the brownfield projects. And now we are going to be hearing from our partners. So we've just seen the MOU being signed with the SJVN, and I would like to now invite Ms. Sonia Dogra, AGM PTNBD SJVN, to kindly make a presentation and insights on the developments in renewable energy.
A very good evening to all the dignitaries and esteemed gathering assembled on the occasion of MOU signing between IOCL and SJVN. I am honored to give a presentation about SJVN, its future, and collaboration with IOCL. So SJVN is a CPSU under Ministry of Power, Government of India, incorporated in 1988 with shareholding of Government of India, Government of HP, and public. We have three subsidiary companies, SJVN Arun 3 in Nepal, SJVN Thermal Private Limited executing thermal project in Bihar, and another SJVN Green Energy Limited implementing renewable energy projects. We have one joint venture company, Cross Border Power Transmission Company, with 26% equity share. Next. Regarding project portfolio of SJVN, we have 7 projects under operation of 2,092 megawatt capacity, along with 1 transmission line. We have 12 under construction projects of more than 4,000 megawatt and 2 transmission lines. We have 15 projects of capacity 1,800 megawatt under pre-construction stage. We have 22 projects of capacity 20,000 megawatt under survey and investigation stage. We have 15 projects of capacity more than 17,000 megawatt under allotment. So these are the projects, these are the plants under operation in the state of Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, UP, Maharashtra, and transmission line in Nepal and Bihar. Next. Further, these are the projects under construction in Nepal, Uttarakhand, HP, Bihar, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and MP. It shows SJVN's presence pan-India and abroad as well. So these are the projects which are ready to come in construction stage very soon. The capacity is around 1,801 megawatt. Next. So these are the projects under survey and investigation stage. Next slide. Totaling to 20,777 megawatts. This much capacity of SJVN projects is under survey and investigation. And these hydro projects in Arunachal Pradesh are under allotment. These projects are hydro projects which are nominated to SJVN by Ministry of Power in Arunachal Pradesh. Next. Pump storage projects are also under allotment. So these are the pump storage projects nominated to SJVN by Ministry of Power in the states of Maharashtra, Himachal, and Mizoram. Regarding energy generation capacity of SJVN, so we can proudly say for the last 6 years, SJVN has been consistently generating much beyond the design energy of its projects. So it's a commendable achievement for SJVN. The plant availability factor of hydro plants, which is decided by CERC, so this factor has also been much beyond the normative PAF plant availability factor decided by CERC, which shows our operational and maintenance efficiency. Regarding CapEx achievement, this slide is self-speaking. You can see that there is exponential growth in CapEx achievement of SJVN, which has increased from rupees 400 crores to 8,000 crores in the span of last 6 years. So SJVN is making lots of efforts to increase its portfolio in green energy, and our future plan is to achieve the shared vision of 50,000 megawatts by the year 2040. And this 50,000 megawatt of energy has major share from renewable energy. Next. So there is a long list of awards and recognitions bestowed upon SJVN under the dynamic leadership of our CMD sir and able management. This is a long list indeed. So SJVN has already established its credibility in the field of renewable energy and plans to grow more by collaborating with IOCL to achieve its goal. So today we have signed this MOU, and the broad objective of MOU between IOCL and SJVN is that it will help Indian Oil to target to achieve the net zero operational emissions by the year 2046. Under this MOU, a JV company to be formed for development of large-scale renewable energy projects, including solar, wind, hydro, hybrid projects, energy storage such as battery storage and pump storage for supply of round-the-clock renewable power for supply of refineries of Indian Oil or third-party, energy exchange, electric mobility charging infrastructure, production of green hydrogen, green ammonia, green methanol, other green synthetic fuels, chemicals. And broad objectives of MOU also include supply of petroleum oils and lubricant products to SJVN, setting up retail outlets for catering the requirement of SJVN, and procurement of hydropower by IOCL for mitigating its carbon footprints. Next. Now I would like the gathering to glance through a few pictures of our power plants. So this is a 1500 megawatt Nathpa Chachari hydropower plant, which is still the largest in Asia underground hydropower plant. So this is the dam of this power station, which is a civil engineering marvel. This is the surge shaft of this hydropower plant. And this is the tail race tunnel of NGHPS, where we have set up another power plant, which is the master and the slave power plant. It operates the water that exists in the Nathpa Chachari hydropower plant is further utilized for generation of power in Rampur hydropower station. So the TRT of NGHPS is the intake of Rampur hydropower station. Next picture is, this is Rampur hydropower station, which is 420 megawatts. So SJVN has its strong presence in solar and wind power sector. This is our Khirvere wind power station. And we also did Charanta solar power project, which is in Gujarat Solar Park at Charanka. So we had been doing very good work in renewable energy sector and look forward to join hands and do better work with IOCL. I'm thankful to all of you for your patient hearing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing this shared vision of SJVN with the IOCL towards greening the planet together. And now inviting our next partner, Praj Industries. Praj, ladies and gentlemen, is an Indian multinational process and project engineering company in biofuel space. Would like to invite Shri Atul Mule, the President, Praj Industries, to kindly deliver his presentation on biofuels and sustainable aviation fuel.
Good evening, everybody. Respected Vaidya sir, Sunil Kumar ji, Board of Directors of IOCL, dignitaries sitting in the audience. It gives me a great pleasure to present here the Praj's Green Energy Solutions in this IOCL Green Energy Summit. So we start with, we strongly believe the biomobility is the wheel which will actually take up the journey of decarbonization. And in this biomobility wheel, we have conventional biofuels, we have advanced biofuels, we have next generation biofuels, and we have future biofuels. So we at Praj, we are actually working on this wheel of a biomobility for last almost like 4 decades, and the technologies, some of the technologies are already commercialized. Just to take an example like bioethanol 1G today. Now, over 4 decades, we have created a capacity world over in about 100 countries, about 1,200 crore liters of ethanol is being produced from Praj plant, which is roughly a 20% blending program requirement for India. From an Indian context, for last maybe 28 to 30 months, we are creating a capacity to the extent of almost 500 and 550 crore liters on the first generation plant, and out of which roughly around 40% is coming from the sugar industry, sugar side, and roughly 60% comes from the grain side. The cellulosic bioethanol plant, as we have also honored, like partnering with IOCL for the Panipat plant, and which will go, by the end of this month, it will come into the production. The renewable natural gas, which is again a thing which is called as a compressed biogas. So we have established almost like 60 biogas plants globally based on the liquid effluent treatment plant. And in Indian context, I will go in details of the next slide, that we have set up 2 plants based on the sugar press mud, and 1 plant which is coming up in Hindustan HPCL. Marine biofuels is the next biofuel. Sustainable aviation fuel is, that's what Vidya sir has talked about it, that sustainable aviation fuel, there is a very specific mention in one of my slides, I will talk about it. We are also developing the technology for biohydrogen, biomethanol, and biodiesel is also conventional biofuels. So that's the journey from a technology development side and commercialization of this technology in Indian context and global context. So we have also seen this transition is going to happen from hydrocarbons to carbohydrates, and that's what we see. There is a lot of similarity between the crude oil refinery and biorefinery. The most of the product which are produced from the crude oil refinery can also get produced from the biorefinery, and globally what we have seen in the developed countries where we have supplied a plant, some of the plants already started manufacturing this. Like even in Indian context, some of the sugar conglomerate and sugar industry is talking about, they're talking about bioethanol, bio-CNG, biochemical. Some of them also talking about the sustainable aviation fuel and bio-oil. So this is typically a journey of transition coming from hydrocarbon to carbohydrate. That's going to be the requirement, and that's what is also been practiced in globally, and in India also we already started working on the similar line. The shift is for economical, social, and ecological progress, which we are seeing. Some of the references from the OMC's perspective, again, as I said, we are glad that Indian Oil, the first plant of 2G will get into production this month. We are setting up a plant which HPCL for the CBG plant as well as the 2G plant. We are also setting up a plant for 300 kV first generation plant based on grain at the HPCL Mittal. Then Bargarh, we are setting up a 2G plant and 1G plant. So that's roughly our relationship within OMC from the biofuel perspective. On a sustainable aviation fuel, this is where probably I want to give a more attention to this for today, that we have signed a technology collaboration with Geo USA and Accent Solutions. Now, Geo USA, they have a technology to produce from the raw material of a sugar side or from the grain side, from a isobutanol technology, from isobutanol directly to pathway to the ATJ. And Accent also, we have signed a technology collaboration for the AT alcohol to jet. Now, Geo is setting up almost like creating a capacity of 1,000 crore liters in next 2 to 3 years time in USA. And we already started feed engineering for that for the couple of plants of the Geo. And again, as I said, we will be setting up these plants with partnering with IOCL in India as well. On a renewable natural gas, or we call it the CBG here, the journey on a development which we have started from 2017-18 onwards, and today we are on 21-23. One of the beauty of this plant is the press mud is a sugar filter cake based plant. And sugar filter cake based today, otherwise it's a waste, but the waste is converted into a gas and it converted to CBG. We have developed a technology called PM STAP, which retains the value of a TCVS from a press mud from the round year of operation. And round year of operation, we have a very consistent supply of gas of a consistent quality. And those plants are already working in Indian Potash Limited in Uttar Pradesh, and one plant is working in Karnataka with Nirani Sugars. And one HPCL plant for rice straw, which will come into the production from April onwards. There are some of the photographs of HPCL Badayu getting ready for the commissioning, as I said, which will come into the next month. It will get to the commissioning road. Apart from this, as a biofuel as a side, we are also working very actively from a technology development side from the renewable chemicals. Probably the same platform of a raw material, glucose, fructose, starch, cellulosic material, oil, fats, or the gases. We have hands-on on the fermentation, catalytic synthesis, and then we are developing bioplastics, biopolymers, bioresins, and biorubber. In fact, first of our demonstration plant will get ready by end of next financial year, which we are setting up on our own near Pune for manufacturing of bioplastic. So with this, I once again give thank you to IOCL management for giving us this opportunity to Praj to present us here. And I also invite, we have a technology center in Pune, which is a state-of-the-art technology center, and I invite, sir, you along with your technical team, Sunil Kumar has already visited this unit, to visit and witness the technology development and demonstration plant which we have set up there. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our next partner, NTPC. Indian Oil and NTPC collaboration aims at setting up renewable energy projects towards fulfilling the captive demand of refineries. I invite Shri V.K. Raizada, Advisor Indian Oil, to kindly make the presentation.
Respected Chairman, Indian Oil, Shri S.M. Vaidya, Directors on the Board of Indian Oil, Senior Government Officials, Industry Leaders, good evening to all. It's my pleasure to present Indian Oil and NTPC collaborations for production of green energy, which will be used for captive use in the Indian Oil refineries. To start with, the present requirement of power in the Indian Oil refineries and the petrochemical complex is 900 megawatt, which is met from the captive power plants. And this power is also low carbon power because natural gas is used for production of power from the gas turbines. As the group refining capacity of Indian Oil will increase from 80 to 107 million metric ton per annum with the expansion in the refineries, this will require an additional power of 650 megawatt requirement by 2025. Now, Indian Oil has taken a strategic decision that this requirement of power will not be met from the captive power plants, and for future, this requirement has to be met by importing power from the grid for optimization and reliability when we operate our plants in parallel with the grid. So most of the refineries, they are upgrading their grid infrastructure, which was earlier for 33 kV, and the power requirement was also limited because they were designed primarily to meet the emergency requirement in case some exigencies in the power plant. So now, this 220 kV transmission lines from the states, along with the transformers and the switchboards, this has been installed in most of the refineries. And some of the refineries are already importing power. They are operating their plants in parallel with the 220 kV. And in the balance refineries, in a couple of months, this 220 kV infrastructure will be ready. So Indian Oil will be able to import and meet the requirement of 650 megawatt from the grid. Now, being the leader in the energy space, Indian Oil is consolidating its portfolio in all forms of renewable energy. So it has been decided that 650 megawatt requirement of the future for the new projects will be met from the renewable energy. And when we take this power from the grid, the renewable power, vis-a-vis the normal power which is available in the grid, there is clearly a saving or a carbon footprint reduction. Because the present mix of the power from the Indian grid, normally it's dominated by the fossil fuels, and there is a carbon footprint for every megawatt hour, 0.79 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And if we import 650 megawatt renewable power, I have just taken about 80% of this because we are not able to produce 100% renewables because the cost becomes very high. Then there is a carbon footprint reduction of 3.6 million metric ton carbon dioxide equivalent per annum by importing this power from the renewable resources. Therefore, the Indian Oil and NTPC are collaborating for setting up renewable energy plants, and the boards of Indian Oil as well as NTPC have approved the formation of the joint venture company between Indian Oil and NTPC Green Energy Limited, which is a green arm of NTPC. The term sheet has already been executed in the presence of Honorable Chairman Indian Oil, Shri S.M. Vaidya, and CMD NTPC, Shri Gurdeep Singh. Now, all government approvals as well as statutory requirements for formation of these joint ventures, they have been obtained. All definitive agreements, documents, articles which are required for incorporation of the JV company, they have been also finalized between Indian Oil and NTPC Green Energy Limited. And both these companies now, they are in advanced stage for formation of the joint venture company, which will be formed with 50-50% equity shortly. Now, parallelly, to meet this requirement, because the 650 megawatt requirement will be coming by 2025, so parallelly the optimum configuration of the renewable energy plant has been worked out. And to meet 650 megawatt renewable requirement, 1000 megawatt wind, 800 megawatt solar, totaling about 1.8 gigawatt, along with a storage capacity of 1200 megawatt hour in a day. So this is a configuration of the plant which has been found to be optimal with respect to the landed cost of the power. And 1.8 gigawatt plant, solar, wind, along with the storage has been identified. And parallelly, the tendering philosophy for setting up these plants has also been worked out. And tenders for solar, wind, balance of plants, they have been under preparation. And shortly, tenders will be floated for invitation of bids for setting up the power plants. Now, these power plants will be located across various locations, and smart metering, smart communication with the grid, as well as remote monitoring of these plants and remote control of these plants is being envisaged, so that scheduling of the power from these renewable energy 15 minutes interval and the consumption in the refineries can be matched, and whatever additional power is required, that can be planned in advance. So that is the way how this requirement of power for the refineries will be met by putting up these power plants. And the completion of these renewable energy plants for 1800 megawatt installed capacity along with 1200 megawatt storage capacity is being aligned with the completion schedule of June 2025, by which our refineries' new process units will be ready to take power. So this initiative of Indian Oil for formation of joint venture to set up renewable energy plant is a clean, green initiative, and by implementing this, a portfolio of 1500 megawatt by 2025 will comprise about 40% power from the renewables and balance 60% from the low carbon, which is a natural gas. So this will help Indian Oil to achieve its leadership in the renewable, as well as to achieve the target of the net zero of the company by 2046, as well as which is perfectly aligned with the government of India's mission to achieve the net zero target by 2070. In fact, this will also help in achieving the country's target of 500 gigawatt by 2030. So thank you very much for listening me. And this is all about what Indian Oil is going to do by 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for informing us about this JV between Indian Oil and NTPC, further consolidating their shared vision, shared green energy mission, and more towards the national mission. Ladies and gentlemen, Indian Oil R&D Center has been developing cutting-edge technologies on biofuels and renewable energy. We now have the presentation on the same. I would like to request and invite Dr. SSV Ramakumar, Director R&D, to kindly make the presentation on the various R&D initiatives of Indian Oil.
Distinguished dignitaries, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be part of this Green Energy Summit of Indian Oil. It's my privilege also to present you the wide canvas, research canvas of Indian Oil R&D Center in the green energy space. So, when I say wide canvas, this is the canvas on which we have been working on the research and development side: oxygenated fuels, bioenergy, solar energy, hydrogen, batteries, circular economy. So I'll be just giving you some glimpses of the major programs that are being undertaken, which are at various stages of development, from TRL 3 to TRL 8, that is technology readiness level. So first, let me talk about oxygenated fuels. In line with the Government of India's campaign to mix oxygenates in transportation fuel, we have been working along the course, along the homologous series of oxygenated fuels. In fact, the E20 roadmap, which was launched by Honorable Prime Minister, the roadmap was drafted by Niti Aayog, and I am very proudly informing this gathering that Indian Oil and Indian Oil's R&D Center is a part of the drafting committee of this, this particular roadmap, along with Mr. Sunil Kumar, Joint Secretary, who is also present in this audience. While our partner Praj Technology has presented that the first 2G ethanol plant is almost about to be producing the 2G ethanol at our Panipat refinery. At our Panipat refinery, we are also putting up a demo plant based on the 2G ethanol technology developed by Indian Oil R&D Center. Last year, we worked under the guidance of Niti Aayog. We worked on methanol economy and introducing methanol in transportation fuels. We were the first one to develop a coupler, a cost-effective, stable coupler for mixing methanol both in gasoline as well as in diesel. The M15 blends, the photograph shows that our chairman, along with our Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas, inaugurating the first dispensing station of M15 fuel in the northeastern region. And Indian Oil R&D was in the forefront in establishing the efficacy of E20 blends in the existing vehicle park, and we did this work in collaboration with SIAM and Automotive Research Association of India, Pune. We have already submitted the interim report to Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, based on which the E20 launching is being planned. We have also worked on dimethyl ether, another homologous variant of these oxygenates, to mix them in diesel, and also I haven't put it on the slide, also to mix them in the LPG. So a lot of work has undergone, and very soon you are going to hear from us what we're going to do with DME, both in diesel and LPG. Already some trials are going on in collaboration with DST and IIT Delhi. MD15, it was mentioned by Chairman Indian Oil, and in the audio visual also you have seen. Just last week we have launched the trials of city buses in Bangalore Metropolitan Transportation Corporation with MD15 blends, where methanol for the first time is mixed in diesel with a special patented coupler developed by Indian Oil R&D Center. Next slide. So in the space of bioenergy, we have one of the best-in-class biomethanation technology, and not only that, every biomethanation, every compressed biogas yields some byproducts called fermented organic manure and liquid fermented organic manure. We have again the patented bacterial enrichment formula to enrich these FOM and LFOM to graduate them to organic manures. So we have conducted elaborate trials in Punjab and Haryana with great results. You will again hear from us on this particular front towards commercial launch. We are also working on carbon dioxide capture and carbon dioxide utilization into value-added products. In fact, we are working along with LanzaTech to convert carbon dioxide into lipids and very highly valued omega-3 fatty acids, which are otherwise known as nutraceuticals. So the world's first pilot plant to convert CO2 into these lipids and nutraceuticals through biopathway is operating in our R&D center for the past 2 years. We are about to scale up this technology in one of our refinery locations very shortly. You also heard from Chairman about our 3G ethanol plant. For the first time, the refinery emissions, the carbon footprint of refinery is getting converted to biopathways into the much needed oxygenate, that is ethanol. And this is going to be a truly green ethanol where the feedstock is not agricultural residue, feedstock is not anything else, but it is an unwanted emission. The other plans are that we want to work extensively in synthetic biology place, where we would like to generate more and more programmable biocatalysts so that we can define the product slate, we can change the product slate, we can change the selectivity of the product slates from the starting material. So this is very high on our priority. In the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to set up, we have already set up, we are in the process of setting up synthetic biology laboratories. Our R&D center is the center where India's only continuously running carbon capture pilot plant is operating. Our pathway is bio-assisted carbon capture. Amine-based capture, normally everybody is indulging in. But we are having a patented bio-assisted carbon capture technology, and we believe that it is going to be extremely cost-effective, almost matching the global benchmarks. We are about to undertake the first plant-level field trial in one of the South-based fertilizers and chemical company in the next month. Moving on to solar energy, you are all aware that Honorable Prime Minister last month launched our solar cooktop, the indoor solar cooktop, a double burner cooktop, and we are in the process of mass deployment by licensing this technology to various vendors all over the country on pan-India basis. We are also continuously working to further improve this solar cooking device, which is being recognized as one of the clean cooking solutions after Ujjwala campaign by Government of India. We are also working in the solar space for solar parabolic dish systems, process heat applications in refineries, community cooking, zero liquid discharge technologies, we are working on them, and wastewater treatment. We are also working in the solar space on photoelectrochemical PV-based hydrogen generation, which is going to be a green generation. And we have on-purpose, on-site green hydrogen concept, which we are pursuing. Coming to hydrogen, I mean, with all modesty, I can say IOCL, or Indian Oil Corporation's thought leadership in the domain of hydrogen is reflected by one of the most comprehensive research canvas of hydrogen that this country is having. We started our journey with hydrogen CNG being produced by partial reforming of the natural gas, not by physically mixing hydrogen in CNG. We have converted natural gas into hydrogen CNG mixtures, and we ran 50 DTC buses in Delhi NCR region for 6 months with great results. We are about to present, we have submitted our report to the statutory bodies, and we are waiting for some legislative direction so that we can replicate this particular experiment. In the hydrogen economy, we are working along the value chain, starting from production to storage to transportation to final application. In the production domain, we are working on 3 different pathways, not only electrolysis of water pathway, we are also working on biomass gasification to green hydrogen and reforming of compressed biogas to green hydrogen. In the electrolysis space, while the whole world is debating on alkaline and PEM electrolysis, we are believing and we are pursuing in the 3rd electrolytic pathway, that is anion exchange membrane electrolytic pathway. We are also working on seawater electrolysis, because as far as electrolytic pathway is concerned, one is high electricity consumption, second one is very high water intensive processes. So we are trying to address all of them. We are just going to run 15 PEM fuel cell based buses in Delhi NCR region. First lot of buses are just right now in our campus waiting for the road permit and to a formal launch. Honorable Chairman has already mentioned that 7 KTPA of green hydrogen plant is coming up at our Panipat refinery, which is going to be replicated. By 2030, we pledged that we are going to convert 50% of our total hydrogen being consumed at refineries into green hydrogen. We are working on, we have 2 superlative distinctions. One is India's first hydrogen dispensing station is in our R&D center, operating right from 2005. Very recently, we have commissioned the first commercial hydrogen dispensing station at our Gujarat refinery. We are ready with our prototypes for type 3 cylinders, which are extremely cost effective, to be launched in the hydrogen application area. We are working on CO tolerant fuel cell technologies so that hydrogen purification costs can be cut short. Coming to the battery space, again this was mentioned in the audiovisual space, our concentration is on India-centric batteries. While the whole world is on lithium and lithium variants, while we are not denying or denigrating the lithium chemistry, we believe in India-centric chemistry, that is aluminum, hence our collaboration with Phi Energy. I think 2 major OEMs have already integrated the aluminum air batteries, and they have tested and validated. Some more validation trials are going on, and very soon you will hear from us on the commercial launch of these batteries. On the circular economy, one of the key ingredients of net zero journey for any company, you've seen that our fabric made out of PET bottles is being presented by our chairman to Honorable Prime Minister of India. And also in the lubricating oil space, we were one of the first companies to launch partially mixed re-refined base oils, and thus making them green lubricants, as mentioned again by chairman. We have also unveiled 10 pathways to recycle the plastic, and there are 10 pathways in refineries and outside the refineries. One of the very prominent experiment which yielded successful result with us is to process the waste plastic in one of the running secondary refinery unit in a refinery without hampering the refinery operations, and converting the waste plastic into BS6 quality diesel. We are going to replicate this experiment in some other refineries. Similarly, we have laid down the plastic roads, that is waste plastic mixed roads at varying percentages. We experimented this at our Faridabad R&D center, and we have concluded that up to 2% you can, by weight, you can mix the waste plastic, and to very good results. We are going to write this to MORTH to make it mandatory. Then finally, to give fillip to all these green initiatives and decarbonization initiatives, Indian Oil is already embarked on building world's largest renewable energy research campus at Faridabad at a total plan outlay of 3,200 crores. The construction is in full swing right now, and this second campus is conceived and designed as net zero water and net zero power research campus. This is going to be bigger than NREL USA campus of that similar domain and scope. This center is going to house 4 centers of excellence in alternate energy, in nanotechnology, in synthetic biology, and in material and corrosion research. Besides that, this center is going to house many scale-up units in catalysts, in petrochemicals, in refinery process, pilot and demo plants, pipeline test loops, and battery research. So, to conclude our green philosophy, I put it this way: engineering green innovation, accelerating green ideas to commercialization, and to socially inclusive sustainability approach. This is our green philosophy at Indian Oil, and R&D Center is totally aligned to meet these business goals and to aid in our net zero journey to be attained by 2046. Thank you very much.
Sir, for sharing the green philosophy of Indian Oil, further driven by the R&D Center of Indian Oil. So that, ladies and gentlemen, has been the Atmanirbhar decarbonization and green resolve of Indian Oil. As we thank you all for joining us and further strengthening it with your presence and with your collaborations, I would like to invite Shri Shantanu Gupta, the Executive Director, Alternate Energy and Sustainable Development, to kindly propose a formal vote of thanks.
Very good evening, Honorable Chairman. Baidu sir, he has been standing inspiration. I always say that, see that we all, whatever we are doing today, the green push and the energy, the agility which we require, we drive a lot of energy, sir, from you. Respected all our board members who are here with your pressing time schedules, but still we could make it happen. Today we are really happy for that. Joint Secretaries, both our Joint Secretaries, Sunil Kumar sir and Kothari sir, we are really thankful to both of you making time to be here, because we all know the fraternity who are sitting here, the contribution for both of you, the biofuels, biogas, and all the things which are happening today, the policy, and making the policy more conducive to go ahead. So that's the things which we require. I'm thankful to the CMD Gupta sir from GAIL to spare your time here. And also the whole fraternity of today's who are all present. Sir, I will just brief you. We have all solar manufacturers, leading manufacturing units, corporates they have here, wind manufacturers are here, huge venture capital fund, their operators, banks, non-finance organizations, non-banking finance organizations, and also the embassy. We are glad to have some of our embassy colleagues here who are really pushing hard for their net zero in the country. And we are really thankful to all of you and all the speakers who have enlightened us with the bouquet of offering when we are going and joining hands with you. And that will really help us and moving forward. BCG representatives who are trying very hard to make the vision plan. We are thankful to Arindam, Rahul and Shobtik and all the team for here to be here and making the beautiful presentations to create the impression that what exactly we're going to do. Media representatives, we are really happy that you are all here and all the people who are accredited here, the hotel authorities, and last but not the least, the push the director PNBD has given personally for making this summit successful. So we are thankful to him and all my colleagues from AESD and BD Finance and the BD team who has helped, including the EDCC and his team, to make this program a success. Thank you very much. And I will not be the barrier between the evening program and today. Thanks a lot. Look forward for your all support in the future to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we draw curtains to the Green Energy Summit, inviting you all to please join us for dinner. Thanking once again Chairman Sir for energizing this summit with his presence, with his leadership, with his guidance. Thanking Dr. SSV Ramakumar, Director R&D, Shri Ranjan Kumar Mahapatra, Director HR, Shri V. Satish Kumar, Director Marketing, Shri D.S. Nanavare, Director Pipelines, and Ms. Sukla Mistry, Director Refineries, along with all our very senior representatives from Praj, from also from BCG making the presentation, from thanks to NTPC also for collaborating. Thank you to each one of you. Now please join us for dinner. Thank you.